If you're moving to Bend, maybe you're relocating for work or you're looking to retire, or maybe you just want to be here because it's awesome and you'll figure things out after you arrive, then consider this video your ultimate relocation guide video. We'll be discussing everything. What it's like living here in the doldrums of the winter when every day feels like it's 25 degrees and there seems to be no end in sight of that. Or when does that pendulum swing to the other direction and the spring and the summer vibes start to take effect and everybody gets ready for an awesome summer season. We want to talk about everything in between as well. The pros and the cons of living in Bend full time, 365 days out of the year, because it's not quite the same as, say, that week-long vacation in July that most get to enjoy every summer before they decide they want to live here. We'll discuss certain areas of Bend, the East Side, the West Side, the North Side, the South Side, talking about certain neighborhoods. What's the price makeup of homes on one side of town versus the other? What would suit you best? That's what this video really is all about today. Hopefully it's a one-stop shop to really kind of get the gears flowing. Maybe it inspires some questions out of you. If you have questions for me, please reach out to me. You can text me, you can call me, you can see my phone number right there, but just jump into this video right now and start just absorbing as much as you can so you understand what it really kind of feels like living here full time. But again, if you have any questions, just reach out to me anytime. My number is right here as well as anywhere else on the channel. So let's just jump into it right now and enjoy today's video. Today we are in the car. We're on the very west edge of Bend. We just took a left onto Skyliners Road. To my right is going to be the Highlands at Broken Top, those acclaimed 10-acre parcels with those houses that range from, like, I don't know, 4,000 feet to 12,000 feet or even bigger, believe it or not. Yeah, pretty interesting. But we are heading eastbound right now. It's about 6:30 p.m. in the middle of April, bluebird sunshine. The sun's still up in the sky, right? And we are just going to be doing kind of a driving tour today to give you guys a better feel for where we're at in Bend and what the vibe is like, the energy. We are on the very west edge of Bend. It's about 3,800 feet here as we slope up towards the mountains. If you were going the other direction, we're going to slope down as we get further and further away from those mountains. Straight ahead, that's Over Turf Butte there. We've done a video on that before. Fantastic homes up there with great mountain views. That is kind of under the radar. As opposed to, say, Aubrey Butte, which gets a lot of the notoriety for being up on a hill on the west side, but Overturf Butte is very competitive with that as well. Not as tall, but we just went by 3 different schools: Miller Elementary School, Pacific Crest Middle School, and Summit High School on the left-hand side there. This little stretch of the west side of Bend is very sought after. It's a fantastic area, and there are all kinds of homes and developments that have taken place, broken ground over the last 20 years or so. This used to be basically the middle of nowhere, right? This is Mount Washington Drive, this intersection that we're coming into right now. If we were to go right here, it would take us to Century Drive, the road to Mount Bachelor. If we were to go left here, it would take us to Northwest Crossing, the Grove, a bunch of fantastic restaurants, Discovery Park, Discovery West, a great little section of Bend with amazing neighborhoods. But we went straight instead, and we are zipping by a bunch of people on their bikes. To the right here is that upslope of Overturf Butte. This is Skyliner Summit, the subdivision to my right. Fantastic neighborhood, and there are amazing homes. To my left is going to be the edge of Northwest Crossing, another master plan development that is absolutely stunning. It's kind of like its own little ecosystem there with the shops and the restaurants and the wine bars and just the parks and the schools within the actual scope of the subdivision. It's almost like you don't even need to leave the area to really live. Of course, you do at some point, but there's enough there to kind of hold you over. In fact, one of the best farmers markets in the entire state starts up here next month in May in Northwest Crossing. We'll do a video on that here coming up real soon, but it's an actual scene over there every Saturday. There's so much to look at. Pretty cool. But now, as we continue getting through this stretch of the road, we are embarking upon basically the old Bend city limit line. Right here is kind of where it cut off for a long time, but when Summit High School opened up 22 years ago, that road that we just drove on was extended, and a lot of developments happened as a result. We've talked about that at length, right? Where the new high school goes, that's where the new future development goes. Hint, hint, the southeast side where Caldera High School is today. But we are now entering Galveston Avenue here. All these homes on the right-hand, left-hand side, a lot of them have been around for 50, 60, 70 years, many of which have been renovated, some of which are newer construction, tear downs. But this was an old Bend vibe, an old Bend neighborhood over here. And we are now basically exiting this little subdivision and this little stretch of residential and going into Galveston Avenue, the commercial strip. This is 14th Street to the right. That will eventually turn into Century Drive. Great little commercial area that way as well. But we are now we're still heading westbound or eastbound. And now you see these these structures are homes, old homes, right? But they've been converted into commercial properties. So you have businesses on both the right-hand side and the left-hand side. And then one block in on each the right-hand and left-hand side, that's where the residential areas begin. So it's obviously very, very sought after, easy to get from point A to point B without the use of a car. Just drove by Boss Rambler. We just drove by 10 Barrel. We've got Bosa there. We've got Sun River Brewing there. We've got the Westside Tavern to our left. All kinds of little businesses that just make this area flourish and booming. And then we have the river right here, Deschutes River. We're crossing over and we're entering into kind of the Old Bend neighborhood, historic Old Bend. Pretty remarkable here as we take a left. We're veering left. This is Riverside Boulevard now. And you have homes on the right-hand side that go for $2-3 million because they face Drake Park and then the river right across from where Drake Park is right now. But again, Riverside Boulevard, a little busier road. You can see there's a lot of traffic here. Basically, this is, again, a Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. You can see how the sun is shining on some of the trees that are finally getting their leaves, which is exciting as we get into the later stages of spring. Where in some areas in the country, they're already ready for summer, right? It's getting hot, but not us. You know, we tend to take a little bit longer to get going, and then the summers kind of stay into the summer, into the fall. September, October, even November have fantastic summer-like weather days. But as we continue, we're exiting the Drake Park kind of corridor here, and we're entering into downtown. Now, downtown is fantastic. Downtown Bend is kind of becoming famous. It's on the map. HGTV, I believe it was, they just came out with their most charming downtowns for mid to small size towns. And Bend made the list. It's not a surprise. Bend's downtown is absolutely stunning.
Coveted spot on HGTV's list of the 40 most charming downtown areas in the country. The popular channel is giving a nod to Bend's beer scene, recreational opportunities, along with the Deschutes River, of course, for its walkability.
It's getting better all the time. To my right, where we're parked right now, waiting for this light to turn green, the Old Bend Chamber of Commerce building. Old building, historic building. It's now been acquired. It's being renovated into a hotel. Should be very interesting when that thing's all said and done. This is Wall Street in Franklin. We're on Franklin. Wall Street crosses right here, and we continue on. Bond Street is going to be up here, the next cross street. That's the Franklin building up there, the tall building there. But again, a very charming downtown. This is the very south edge of downtown that we're driving through right now. And it's remarkable. One of the big attractions in all of Bend is going to be the downtown area, the Box Factory area, the Old Mill District area. Just very charming indeed. Very easy, pedestrian friendly, point A to point B without the use of a car. It's pretty cool. And we continue on now. We're getting to basically a stage of Old Bend, right? Old Bend neighborhood where, again, it's very easy to get around, but straight ahead is kind of like where the West Side ends and the East Side begins, because we're going underneath this underpass. And this is going to be Highway 97. This is the Parkway, and this is kind of the byway to get through town, the easiest way. But as we come through this underpass, now all of a sudden things kind of change. It's more like the city, more like the hustle and the bustle, just let's just get our business done type vibe over here, where it's like the businesses are over here, people need to go from point A to point B because they have tasks to do, errands to run, etc. Walgreens is right there. You got a Safeway up there on the left-hand side. You see Pilot Butte there, again, landmark. Anytime you need to know where you are in town, just look up and find Pilot Butte, and that'll give you at least proximity as to where you are in town, because Pilot Butte's kind of like the central landmark. It's kind of on the east side, but it's becoming more and more central as Bend continues to grow outwardly to the east. This is 3rd Street right here, one of the busier intersections in all of Bend, okay? And this used to be 97. This used to be the way to get through town, and now it's just a primary commercial street with a lot of commerce on it. A lot. That building to the right there, that brick stone building, that used to be a fantastic Mexican restaurant way back in the day. Bonus for anybody that can remember and call out what the name of that place was called, what that restaurant was called. As we continue on eastbound, we are kind of in this Old Bend vibe now, right? Very fantastic little area. These homes are historic. Bend High School is right to the right down there a little ways. We have Juniper Park coming up here on the left-hand side, a large park with all kinds of fantastic amenities on the east side, kind of the central east side of town here. Baseball diamond for little leaguers. You got Juniper Fitness and Aquatic Center. You've got horseshoe pits. You've got multiple tennis courts. You got a great hiking system. It's a great little central park in Old Bend / Midtown. As we continue on, we're getting a little bit further and further away from, say, the charm of downtown, the charm of the West Side, the desirability of the West Side because of its proximity to so many things. There's a reason why the median home price on the West Side is 1.1 million, whereas the median home price over here is probably 650 to 750. It just changes like that. It's pretty remarkable. Only a couple mile difference, and it boils down to the proximity to all of the desirable amenities in Bend. I mean, that's the thing. It's like everybody kind of flocks to the West Side at some point, or the downtown area, the river, something, seemingly every single day. It's just the way it is. But as we continue going kind of eastbound, what you're going to see here is kind of a similar vibe of Old Town on the West Side. This is Old Town Bend. on the east side. This is more like Midtown right now, but these homes are older, a lot of character, a lot of charm, larger lots. Not just like 0.04 acres, 0.056 acres. These are like quarter acre lots, maybe even a little bit bigger. There's a little space in between neighbors. And it's kind of the old orchard district, kind of the banana belt, if you will. If you could believe it or not, this was like the area where you could actually grow a little bit more successfully in the summer season, as opposed to behind us about 10 minutes ago, because we're further away from the mountains. We're lower, just a little bit warmer. Maybe those freezes were a little bit fewer in between each other in the summertime. As we continue, though, we're going to keep going eastbound, and Pilot Butte is directly to my left now. Okay, 500-foot tall cinder cone is right to my left, and it's a fantastic little area to go hiking. It's a state park. That's where our firework display is each and every year. And this is Bear Creek Road, right? And so this will eventually take you to the edge of town. We're almost there right now, but again, this is the Orchard District, the Old Farm District, and a lot of these properties have been around for a long time. And sure enough, more and more parcels are getting kind of picked up, getting acquired, they're getting developed, because it's zoned for more high dense residential than what a lot of these neighborhoods really are revealing. And so there's some uniqueness to it if you own a property over here, because this is becoming more and more central, whereas it used to be kind of like out of town, almost in the county even. But we're almost to the edge of Bend right now on the very east side. You learn a lot by just driving from east to west or west to east in Bend, because a lot of people most of the time just go from north to south, they pass through. But if you really want to get to know the flavors of Bend, start on the west side or start on the east side and go to the opposite end, east to west, and it gives you that feel, right? This is Pettigrew. This is the second last road in the city limits until you get to 27th Street coming up here. To our left would have been the old Costco building. That's where it still exists. It's just not a business right now. But that was a very, very popular shopping area. The Forum Shopping Center kind of lost a little bit of its luster without Costco's volume and traffic that it commands. And so the new Costco's on the northwest side of town, and that's going to be booming for a long time. But as we get to this stoplight, this is basically the edge of the city limit line. Past this is going to be the county. We're hanging it right here, but we're going to stop the recording. What is interesting now is where Bend is going into the future. The development is focusing on the southeast side. To my right, a mile or two, is going to be a fantastic building, 100,000 square foot library, literally just towers up. It feels like it's just in the middle of nowhere right now, but it won't be long before it feels like it's right in the middle of the city. Stevens Ranch is right next to that building, and there are probably 100 homes already up. It's crazy. They've only been going for about a year, and they are just zipping through these phases right now. There's such a demand to live in Bend. There's people from everywhere looking to potentially move here, because we get almost 5 million visitors a year. And it's remarkable that, of course, a certain percentage are going to want to end up living here full time. But Bend is very, very attractive with its location on the West Coast. And it's weather, what the amenities are that are offered here. And so now you get a feel for what living in Bend, driving around in Bend, what the makeup of town is really like. It's a small town. Okay, a lot of people are relocating from larger metropolitan areas, and coming to Bend makes it feel like a very small town. And that's what makes it so popular and such a destination. And that's going to be the case for the years to come. People are not going to stop coming to Bend. Pro number one on today's list is going to be Bend's evolving and blossoming fitness scene and culture. Now, Bend obviously is right here in Central Oregon. We get up to 300 days of sunshine a year. We've got Mount Bachelor up there to our west. We've got all kinds of trails, each and every direction that you want to go. So, I mean, there's already kind of a built-in fitness culture here in Bend. But over the last couple of years, I've seen a big shift in the way businesses in town are operated in terms of what they offer regarding boutique-style business. What we used to have were large boxes that were just general athletic clubs. We still have those, and they still do okay to a certain extent. But to me now, the big shift has been these smaller mom and pop style businesses that cater to every single person's preference in terms of their fitness. Some people are members at 3, 4, 5 different little studios, whether it's for yoga, whether it's for Legree, whether it's for a HIIT style workout, whether it's for cycling. I mean, all kinds of things are offered here in Bend now. We probably have 30 to 40, maybe even 50 plus different style mom and pop style businesses that specialize in a specific style of fitness, whether it could be bar, whether it could be for dancing, whether it could be for jujitsu or some sort of mixed martial arts. It's pretty unique to be able to have that type of offering here in Bend. And we've had plenty of those before, say, 2020, but since 2021, when the world reopened, we've had such a shift in the culture of the way fitness studios and the way people sought out to get their exercise each and every day, especially in the wintertime. So Bend really has evolved. Redmond's kind of following suit now. Bend always tends to lead. Redmond follows very, very shortly after. But generally speaking, it's a pretty cool scene that we have here now. And it just kind of a tribute to the people that live here. The people that run the businesses know that there's a huge market for every single style of fitness studio that's currently offered. And it's pretty cool. There are many people in this town that are members at 4, 5, 6, 7, like I touched on. So that's going to be pro number one. It's just a general vibe, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that are very fitness oriented, very active outside. And when it's sunny, they're going to be outside, but they're also making sure that they get inside of their studio and they get their workout in every single day. It's a tribute to the people of this area, and it's a great thing to be a part of. So that's pro number one on today's list. Pro number two on today's list, Bend's population. Population, right? Why is that a pro? Well, we're at about 106 to 110,000 people now. Growing up here, I think the first sign that I saw, it said the population on it for Bend back in 1990 was maybe 20,000, 25,000 in that range. And now we're at a point now where we're sitting at like 110-ish in that range, okay? Bend's population to many people is still a very small town, right? Especially with those people that are moving to Bend, wherever they're coming from, some of the bigger areas. And then we have a small percentage of people that feel like Bend is way too big. It's a huge city, and most people that complain about it, especially on these videos, they've already moved away, right? They just come back to kind of look at their old town and maybe get on the computer and make a comment about how they made the right decision, and that's fine too. But what I'm getting at here is Bend is kind of at this happy medium place where it's like, okay, it's a big town, bringing in a lot of cool things, a lot of cool business ideas, kind of going back to that first pro, right? The fitness boutique style studios that are everywhere. That's because people have moved here and brought their ideas. And that doesn't just apply to, say, the fitness industry or the wellness industry. It applies to everything too, the restaurants, other styles of businesses. I mean, there's all kinds of things that are offered here in Bend that would not be sustainable if Bend was, say, half the size that it currently is. And we'll probably have more of that as we continue to grow. Bend will probably be at 150,000 people by, say, 2040, 2045, somewhere in that range. And so we're going to continue to grow at kind of a linear curve or at a linear level. So we have to embrace it, right? We can't control that. Bend is a very popular area. It's a very great spot that would appeal to many people to live. And so we just embrace it. But right now, it's the pro of the population is a very kind of happy medium place right now. And I'm very proud to say that that's on the list today because the volume of people is what brings Bend its vibe, its culture, all that stuff. And I know it's going to really rub some people the wrong way, and that's fine. But ultimately speaking, those that are coming into Bend, those that have already come into Bend over the last 20 years, they generally move from a city where there were way more people. And so they're now in a small town in the mountains, bluebird sunshine, what's not to like, right? So that's pro number two on today's list. Pro number three on today's Bend pros of living here in town. The unique landscapes within, say, an hour's drive of Bend. Okay, obviously Bend is known for it being an outdoor haven, an outdoor mecca. There's so much to do. But every which way you go, it's going to be kind of a different flavor of outdoor mecca. And so I want to touch on that real quick and explain why that makes it or puts it on the list today, because it's pretty unique. In fact, I really haven't thought about it all that much until just recently putting this video together. If we go to the west, we slope upward. We're at 3,600 feet right here in town where we're recording this video. We go 20 miles to the west, we're at 6,000 feet. Okay, and that's just the foothills going up to 10,000 foot peaks. So it's a different style of climate than, say, if we go 20 miles to our east, which is kind of flat land. It does go up a little bit in elevation, but it's all Oregon badlands, juniper trees that are all sporadically spread out. There's no ponderosa pines. It's a kind of wide open area. It's a desert out there, and it's really cool over there too. Doesn't get a lot of credit. You know, you go 20 miles to the east of Bend, you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, almost on a different planet. And that's what makes it unique too. We go north. Okay, if we go north 20 miles from Bend, we're past Redmond. We're in the Smith Rock State Park area, kind of by Terrebonne. Even maybe a little bit further beyond that, we'll get lower in elevation to the point where we're at like 2,000 feet. That's where Lake Billy Chinook is, up in Jefferson County. But Smith Rock is probably sitting at about 27 to 2,800 feet in elevation, 1,000 feet lower than, say, where we're at here in Bend. So it gives it a unique perspective of what Central Oregon really is. It's a little bit warmer there throughout the course of the year, right? In fact, you can have days in January, in February, where it's sunny here. There could be snow on the ground here in Bend. And you go 20 miles to the north, what you're gonna find is basically 60 degrees, 55 degrees. You get down into that canyon where the Crooked River is, where Smith Rock is, and there's people everywhere. They're out hiking, they're rock climbing with their shirts off. It's pretty wild. That's happening in January, February, March, while 20 miles away from there, here in Bend, it's snowing and it's cold. So, I mean, again, a very unique perspective, but it just, again, 20 miles away and you get a completely different style, okay? There's some similarity for sure, but at the same time, there is plenty of differences just 20 miles to the north. And if we finish up this whole tangent here by going to the south, okay, we're going up in elevation, again, and it's going to be more of a winter style climate in Sun River, Lapine, etc. There's things to do up there. Paulina Peak, Paulina Lake, East Lake, Wickiup Reservoir, Crane Prairie. I mean, there's all kinds of things up there. Crescent Lake too, another very popular ski boat lake, sitting at like 5,000 feet, 5,500 feet. So you've got basically ski boat lakes that are, some are at 5,000 feet, like Cultus Lake and like Crescent Lake, to the north, or I'm sorry, to the south and to the west. And then you go to the north and to the east, you get Prineville Reservoir and you get Lake Billy Chinook at like 2,000 feet. So it's pretty interesting. So by the end of the summer, you want to get your boat up to like Cultus Lake or Crescent Lake where the water's still cool, as opposed to down at 2,000 feet of elevation in Billy Chinook or Prineville where the water feels like it's boiling upon entry, like 80 degrees. So very interesting. These are all 20, 40, 60 miles away from Bend. So it's a very central area. But that's what makes Bend unique in terms of its outdoor activities, right? We've got so many different flavors of outdoor activities because of the unique landscape that is surrounding Bend and is Central Oregon. So that's pro number 3 on today's list. Pro number 4 on today's list, okay? The pros of living in Bend. We've got Mount Bachelor. Okay, I don't feel like we give Mount Bachelor enough credit for being a year-round resort, right? It's famous for skiing and snowboarding, of course. In fact, this is one of the best snowpacks we've had in several years, maybe a dozen years or beyond that. It could be 20 plus years since we've had this much snow this early in a season. And so there's like a surge of people in town buying all kinds of ski and snowboard gear, getting ready to go up to the mountain, maybe for the first time in several years. But we're sitting at basically the strongest snowpack in the country right now as of this recording. It's the 6th largest ski resort of its kind in North America. There's over 4,000 skiable acres. We've got a dozen plus express lifts that take you up all around the mountain. We've got the backside that's open too. It's easy for expert skiers and snowboarders to get that on a bluebird day, going up to the summit and then traversing down the backside and maybe coming back alongside the Cloud Chaser chair or the Northwest Express. But again, it's a fantastic mountain for skiing and snowboarding. But we don't really give it too much credit or the credit that it deserves for what it can provide us in, say, the spring and summertime. It's an absolutely fantastic mountain to hike. It really is. It's a short day hike, but you get up to 9,000 feet. You can go 3 different routes. I mean, you can basically make it your own route, but ultimately speaking, you park at one of the parking lot areas where the lodges are, and then you start hiking up, and it is one of the best and shortest amount of time consumed to get up to the top type style hikes. And it's not a very difficult hike either, right? You don't need technical climbing gear or anything like that. Additionally, there is a bike park where you can literally just get on the lift, Pine Martin, over in the West Village, and you can just do laps. Hook your bike up and go all the way to the top to mid-mountain there, and you're just biking down, going through all kinds of trails and stuff like that. It's one of the coolest style mountain biking opportunities that Central Oregon has to offer, especially if you don't like going up hills yourself. You can skip that whole part. Pretty cool. They've got disc golf up there. They actually have the lift running multiple days a week in the summertime, where you can go up to the Mid-Mountain Lodge at Pine Martin, and you can have dinner up there. You can enjoy the sunset. Again, there's never any two sunsets alike, especially on Mount Bachelor looking to the west. I mean, spectacular. And so Mount Bachelor really is kind of the gateway to all of the Cascade Lakes recreation areas that Central Oregon has to offer. You have to go right by Mount Bachelor to really get anywhere, whether that's Elk Lake or Todd Lake or Sparks Lake or Cultus Lake. If you're going further out there, there's Lava Lake. I mean, there's all kinds of lakes. There's probably 150 to 200 lakes within the Cascade Lake Century Drive area that are all kind of offshoot from the main highway, but there's like 12 or 13 that really get the notoriety. I mean, there's just so much to do, but Mount Bachelor really deserves kind of the credit for opening up the rest of the landscape of Central Oregon to provide opportunities for people to do basically whatever they want in the spring and summer and fall up there at 5,000, 5,500, 6,000 feet of elevation, because it's just really cool, very unique. There's really nothing else like it here in Oregon, and that's what draws so many people here. But Mount Bachelor is kind of like the foundational part of that whole thing. Gets its credit for the winter recreational activities, but it doesn't get the full credit for the year-round opportunities that it provides. So that's going to be pro number 4, Mount Bachelor, on today's list. Pro number 5 of living in Bend in 20 is going to be kind of a hybrid on this one. It's going to be the craft brew, the micro brew scene that we've had for several years now, 20 plus years, in comparison with, say, the culinary scene that just continues to get better and better all the time. The restaurant scene in Bend is awesome now, whereas, say, 20 years ago, we had a growing craft brew scene here in Bend. We go scale back to 1988 when Deschutes Brewery first opened up. It was the first of its kind. Then we got Bend Brewing Company, then we got Cascade Lakes Brewing Company, and then we had a mecca of several more over the next 20 years after that opened up. Bend is sitting at roughly 30 microbreweries right now, and we have about 110,000 people. So that puts us at number 2, number 3, probably top 5 in the country for microbreweries per capita, probably behind Nashville, North Carolina still. I haven't checked the data lately. But point is that Bend is right here on the West Coast in the thick of the Pacific Northwest, which is basically Washington State, Oregon, and California. You put those 3 together, and they have more breweries in those 3 states than the rest of the country combined. And that just gives you an idea as to the culture that Bend is kind of surrounded by. But parlay that with Bend's up-and-coming culinary scene in general, the restaurants. Okay, this goes back to pro number 1. When people move to Bend and they bring their ideas, they bring their concepts with them, Well, we get more culture. We get better restaurants to choose from. We get better fitness studios, better businesses in general. And it's a tribute to the people that are attracted to living here. And so the culinary scene is just getting better and better all the time. We got new restaurants that pop up every single year, and they really complement the craft brew scene that we already have here installed. And it's just becoming a really fun place to just go try restaurants and be able to eat out and just have a multitude of offerings out there, as opposed to say 30 years ago when it was kind of mundane, it was very predictable, and there wasn't very much creativity as it related to the culinary offerings. But Bend is getting to the point now, this goes back to pro number 2 as well, we're getting to a point where we're maturing in terms of our population. We're getting to that point where we're becoming more of a bigger town, maybe a small city, but we have great offerings now as it relates to the restaurant scene. So that's going to be pro number 5 on today's list. The brew pub / the culinary scene is better than it's ever been here in Bend right now. Pro number 6 on today's list. This will be the last one. I mean, there's dozens of pros of living in Bend, but we only have so much time, right? Today, we're going to be discussing the arts and the music scene of Bend. It's getting stronger as well, kind of a compliment to pro number 5 on today's list, the restaurant and the craft brew scene, but the arts and the music scene in Bend is just ever growing as well. We've got that amphitheater down there in the old mill, the Hayden Homes Amphitheater, and that thing, it seems like it doesn't take a night off in the summertime. We get 50, 60 shows, and these are artists in their prime, not necessarily on that retirement county fair tour that you see or hear about a lot in other parts of, say, small town America. But Bend has really been placed on the map now for the outdoor music scene, which is fantastic. I think the Hayden Homes Amphitheater now is kind of in the same category as far as, say, the Gorge Amphitheater up in Washington and the Clark County Amphitheater up in Washington as well, as far as outdoor venues. And so it just makes it awesome to be here in the summertime, especially if you're into music, live music. We've got live music offerings elsewhere. We've got a First Friday art walk every single month, the first Friday of the month. It's something going on it's downtown. Businesses open up their doors and they're just giving to the patrons and just inviting them in, checking things out. Asking for nothing in return, hoping they buy something though, of course. But the reality is like we've got all kinds of different types of things going on. We have a music festival, we've got a film festival, the Bend Film Festival in Bend now. I mean, that just really has been something that's gotten a lot of traction over the last few years as well. If we look outwardly to other parts of Central Oregon, we've got the Sisters Quilt Show, among other things. And so the arts and music scene in Bend, like everything else, is growing and getting better all the time. Like the culinary experience, like the boutique style fitness studios, everything kind of just rises together as Bend gets bigger and bigger, with more people coming in and bringing their ideas. And so that's what we're trying to drive home with a video like this today. Not all growth is bad. Growth can be very healthy. And as we continue to get bigger and bigger locally, our city will catch up with our infrastructure to make it the most comfortable and most appealing town possible to live in. And so that's kind of where we're at now. We get the 300 days of sunshine, we get the outdoors, but we also have offerings that people bring here as a result of them moving here that just complement what Bend already is. So you're reconsidering moving to Bend because it's frigid cold out here in the middle of winter? Just kidding. So maybe you're actually considering moving to Bend in spite of the actual elements that are going on around us right now. Well, that's exactly what we're going to be covering in today's video. It is winter time now. The snow did come. We've been talking about it for a while. We're going to be discussing what that means in today's video. So if this sounds like it's for you, stick around. We're going to be getting after this video of the winter elements right now.
This is one of our bigger snowfalls that we've had in a while. We wanted to show you what life's like in Bend when the weather is like this.
Okay, we are down at Drake Park right now. Zach, we always talk about the good in Bend, but we always mention in our intro the bad as well. This isn't necessarily bad, but it's cold.
You gotta remember, a lot of people live here for this weather. Not me personally. I haven't been to the mountain in 20 years probably. but it's awfully pretty. It is really cold. How cold do you think it is right now?
I think it warmed up to 10 degrees today. We were down below zero probably for 3 or 4 nights in a row. So now we're starting to creep back up to double digits, which is pleasant.
Yeah, I was driving home from some friend's house the other night, and it was -9 at about 9:30. So yeah, it was freezing. We normally get a small stretch of cold temperatures like that, but we've got probably a foot to, I don't know, 14 inches of snow that fell over the last week. And it's going to stick around for a while because it's cold. We're supposed to get into the 40s this week, but I don't know that it's going to be warm enough, long enough to melt a lot of this off.
Yeah, we're going to have snow for a little while, it seems. What's interesting when it comes to like driving in and around Bend, to and from Redmond, did that over the weekend. It's actually probably easier to drive on really sub-zero style roads than it is like, say, 30 degrees, because when this softens up, that's when the driving, at least for me, is going to get really challenging, especially with people around trying to get through from point A to point B when the snow starts to thaw out.
It gets real slushy. Yeah, the packed snow, what we're walking on right now, is not that slick. It's easy to drive on when it does start warming up. Right now, you've got probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches of snow below where we're standing, so that when that gets all slushy, your car just kind of wants to slide all around the place. So really looking forward to those days coming up soon. But right now, the city of Bend does a great job keeping the roads really clear. We're built for this. Portland right now, they got probably 2 or 3 inches of snow, and they're shut down. Like, there's absolutely nothing they can do about it because they don't have the equipment. The people that live there don't have the cars for this kind of weather. So once or twice a year, they get a little dusty of snow, and it shuts everything down pretty good. We did have one snow day last week, and I think that's the day that it snowed like, 7, 8 inches overnight.
Yep.
And it was the only reason it really was a snow day, even though I think they would have done a delay, but it was Wednesday. And Wednesdays are already the abbreviated days here in the Bend Pine School District. So it wouldn't have made much sense to have them show up at school at 11 o'clock and get out at 1:30. So they just called it a snow day. They were back to school the next day, no delays.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, obviously in Bend right now, there's snow, but there's snow really all over the Northwest. It's not like we're just sitting here all by ourselves experiencing these frigid style weather conditions. It's happening everywhere. It's winter. And so we've got friends over in Boise. There's plenty of snow over there. Like Zach said, Portland, Eugene, the Willamette Valley, they're dealing with their elements too. But they shut things down at a much less severe scale. Typically speaking, like what Zach was talking about, the reason why school was canceled the other day is because school gets out early. But historically speaking, I mean, it would take a lot for the school district to really shut down, to call it a snow day. But we're getting bigger now. More people are moving into the area. Infrastructure, it's a little bit harder to keep up. There is plows that go through most of the main roads, but some of the side streets will end up not getting that plow. And so that snow has to go somewhere. It tends to stack up on the side. A lot of the side streets end up just having stacks of snow, and they're like single lane roads in residential neighborhoods. So that's kind of interesting in its own right too.
So we're walking through Drake Park right now. We've done other videos of Drake Park in this area. It looks completely different. They've even got this sidewalk nicely plowed here. But as you can see, if we rotate over just a hair, that's the river. That's Muir Pond right there.
Frozen river.
It is completely frozen over. I tried to talk Ryan into walking over it, seeing how far he could get, but he wouldn't do it. So
he offered me $100.
$100, that's a lot of money. So
might do it for $200.
Done. We'll see if we can get him out there. But if you want Ryan to walk across the river, please like, comment in the video. If we get 100 likes, Ryan will walk across the river. Right, Ryan?
We got to do that by like tomorrow morning.
We'll tie a rope to your waist. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is by far the prettiest time in Central Oregon when we get a heavy snowfall like this. All the trees are just covered in it. We had some pretty good wind last week, and there were quite a few trees that were down. That happens during this time of year as well. We get the wind, and then the trees are buried in snow. They get real heavy. Sometimes they tip over. So unfortunately, it's just part of having all the big pine trees around, and then having the heavy snowfall and the winds this time of year it happens.
Yeah, typical snowfall for our area here in Bend is, what we say, 32 to 34
it's
inches.
Like 34 inches annually, yeah.
Redmond's a little bit lower in elevation. They get about 25 inches or so, and they've got plenty of snow down there in Redmond as well, as of this recording. And then if we go to the south, a little bit higher in elevation, Sun River, Lapine area, they're at about 4,200 feet in elevation, and they get a significantly larger amount of snow than we do on an annual basis. They get up to 60, maybe 80 inches of snow a year.
Yeah, about double what Bend gets. And that's just 30, 40 minutes away from Bend. That road can be pretty difficult in the winter, but they do a good job of grooming it. They just changed the speed signs. They're all electric speed signs out there, so when the weather's bad, they can change them down from 65 to 35 and adjust them, and that's helped a lot. with people just knowing, people see a 65-mile-an-hour speed sign and they don't realize, hey, how slick it is, and they're just driving like crazy. But that's really helped slow down on a lot of the wrecks and stuff out there. The one thing about Bend is in the wintertime, it is definitely tougher to travel to the bigger cities. If you want to go out to Portland, you want to go to Eugene, you want to head south to California, it's a lot more difficult driving around this kind of year. Sometimes the passes will be closed. It's pretty rare that hood's closed, but they do require traction devices almost all the time this time of year, whether you have studs, snow-rated tires, or chains. It's always a good idea to have that stuff anyway. Good to have a little emergency pack, some food, some water, if you're traveling over the pass this time of year. You never know if you could get stuck. One of those things that you just want to be prepared for when you live in an area that has this kind of snow.
Yeah, as far as, say, air travel, our airport, I don't think there was too many delays. There may have been a couple of them, but flights weren't canceled, and the airport is still fully operational. And so the airport does a good job of allowing flights to continue even in the most extreme conditions that we can get around here. So you can rest assured that, typically speaking, even in severe weather conditions, our airport's still going to be able to get you from point A to point B, whether it's up in Seattle or San Francisco or LA, in a timely manner, even with the weather the way it is right now.
Yeah, I think in all my years of air travel, I've only had one flight that was completely canceled. It was delayed for essentially a day, and it was a pretty wild storm coupled with a bunch of wind that it just was kind of abnormal. But yeah, I don't know that there was any major cancellations or delays. Again, we're prepared for this around here. This is the way life is for us here, so it's not a big surprise when it comes. There's people at the ready to clear the roads, clear the runways, get all the pathways taken care of. We just walked through a massive park, and it's got nicely groomed paths, sidewalks everywhere. So we're just built for it here.
So some of the safety concerns regarding your home, Zach just did this earlier today, but he was clearing off his roof because the snow will compile onto the roof. It sticks there. It needs to be cleared off at least at some capacity because of the risk of ice dams, which can build up. The water will eventually melt from the heat of the home, and then the water has to go somewhere. If it's not draining off your roof, it's going to build up. Sometimes it seeps inside the interior, and that can create some sort of water damage. It's fairly rare, but it's just a good protocol to consider getting at least the front part of your roof scraped off so the water can drain when the heat of the home starts to melt the ice and the snow on top of your roof.
Absolutely. And depending on when your home was built, some of the newer homes, they're recommending you don't do that anymore because the first 18 to 24 inches of the roof have ice shield on underneath of them. But a lot of the older ones, you want to get up there with some kind of roof rake. I bought one 2017, and by the time it showed up, the whole country was covered in snow. By the time it showed up, all snow was gone. But I just busted it out, used it for the first time today. So we're a little late on filming today because I was scraping the roof off, but
works pretty good.
Yeah, it works fantastic. It's got this little tarp that runs down it. You just run the little wheels up there and it runs right down the tarp. It's real nice, actually.
Maybe I'll borrow that later
throw
today.
A little footage.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. You're welcome to borrow it if you'd like, pal.
I appreciate that.
You got it. So we are now on the west side of the river. So we took the little footbridge over here, and we're right over by the park. There's lots of softball that goes on here in the summertime. This is a leashed dog park. If you want to have your dogs, if they don't want you to have them off leash. But we do have, we did a video on this. It was like 12 off leash dog parks.
Oh yeah, 12 off leash dog parks.
So still very popular in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Winter doesn't really slow things down around here.
Yep.
What you'll notice is day one of the big snowstorm, things are quiet, right? Well, everybody's plowing the roads.
Adjustment period. Yep.
A lot of people are enjoying it. To be real, is they want to sit in their house, watch movies, watch the snow come down, shovel their driveways, do all that stuff. But once the roads get cleared up, it's business as usual. There's people everywhere. There's people out with their dogs. In the park, we saw 2 people snowshoeing. We saw a couple of people with their snowboards messing around, like the mountain's packed. Just everything just keeps going as normal here when there's a lot of snow.
Yep, that's exactly right. So like Zach said, there's people out and about right now. They're enjoying the outside of Bend. I mean, the sun was trying to kind of break through the clouds a little bit, but today is definitely a cloudy day. But we could be expecting some more snow over the next couple of days. But ideally, people try to get out and enjoy the 4 seasons, and we're in one of those 4 seasons right now. And there's all kinds of things to do if you're a winter style person that likes to do things in the snow and the cold. And so the options are plentiful, that's for sure.
So if you're moving to Bend and you live somewhere warmer that you don't get snow, let's talk about some of the things that you're gonna need. You're gonna want a car that has four-wheel or all-wheel drive. You know, a lot of people drive Subarus and pickup trucks around here. You need a nice pair of boots, some waterproof boots. You know? Shovel, snow shovel for sure. Maybe a couple of those. Some nice gloves, beanie. And you got to have a puffy jacket.
Puffy coat.
That's like an absolute have to have around.
It's a prerequisite.
Yeah. But you just need to gear up. I'm perfectly comfortable right now.
Yeah.
It's about 10 degrees. We've been walking for probably 15 minutes or so now, and I'm incredibly comfortable with the right gear. You can really have a lot of fun in this weather, but if you're not geared up properly, it can be absolutely miserable.
What's amazing too is how the body acclimates to the cold, right? So in the fall, when it dips down to 40 degrees, 35 or 30 degrees at night, it's cold. But then in the wintertime, when we have these spells of 10 degrees or below, all of a sudden when the temperature does rise up to 30 or 35, it feels sort of warm. It's kind of ironic.
Yep.
But it just makes me think of the people that live in like Minnesota or Canada or Alaska. It's like, how do they handle their elements? Well, just the same way we do here.
One of the other things is we're really dry here, so we don't have the humidity, and it's not like a wet cold, if that makes sense. We went to Seattle last fall, it was late fall, and it was like 33 degrees, and I feel like I've never been colder in my entire life. But we're out here in 10-degree weather, and I'm perfectly comfortable. It's just a different kind of cold here. Same with the summertime. Our heat, when we get really hot, it's not terribly bad because we don't have that humidity. It's bringing all that moisture into the air.
Yeah, one way to really warm up outside when it's cold is to shovel your driveway. You get your coat on, your gloves, your hat, you're gonna be sweating in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, I've never bought a snowblower. I should, but I know if I buy a snowblower, it won't snow for several years. And it's just good manual, fun labor to get out and get a little exercise.
That's right. Pride of ownership.
Where we're at right now, we're actually heading right towards Galveston, where you'll find 10 Barrel, Brother John's, Ariana, bunch of shopping, bunch of restaurants. This way, if we keep kind of venturing back this way, this will take you to the mountain eventually. A couple zigzags, you get out onto the Cascade Lakes Highway out there. We've done quite a bit of videos on the west side. It just looks a lot different. The houses to the left here all sit on the river. Absolutely beautiful homes. It's very rare that any real estate comes up. We did do a video on a home that was for sale not too long ago over here.
Right up here.
Throw a card up there.
I was just going to suggest that. There you go. Good idea.
So
Zach.
somewhere up there will be a card. And you can watch that video.
Over here. We'll put it up there. This is the River West neighborhood, though.
So this is something super cool. Pan over here real quick. This is a heated driveway.
Yep.
You notice this driveway is the only one in the neighborhood that is completely clear all the way down. Heated driveway is an absolute luxury. If you can have it, if you've got a big, long driveway, it could be something really, really nice to have. A lot of times the driveways are pretty small around here, though, and it's not that bad to shovel out.
Yeah, heated driveways are a little bit more frequent, say, up on Aubrey Butte. Just because of the slope, a lot of the homes are actually, the driveways themselves are on a slope, so it just makes sense to have it. And sometimes the cars even will park at like the bottom of a driveway or the top of a driveway, just so they don't have to worry about going up and down a slope that could risk being a little slippery or icy. But yeah, heated driveways are nice, but they're fairly uncommon, but they're out there. There's plenty of them, plenty of homes with them.
What is your favorite activity to do in the snow that you actually do regularly?
That I do regularly? Just I walk through the snow, I suppose. I would say downhill skiing up at Bachelor. That would be number one. Right now would just be a great day to play hooky if you're local. It's a Tuesday, and there could be some fresh snow up there. What's funny about the situation up there is that there's kind of an inversion going on. We're lower, it's 10 degrees up here, and it's like 32 degrees up there right now at the mountain at 6,000 feet. So we get a lot of those inversion style weather patterns. It's colder lower and warmer higher, and that's the case right now with Bachelor.
You call that an inversion?
That's called an inversion. There's actually a beer called that.
This is correct.
By the Deschutes Brewery too. Inversion IPA.
Absolutely. I think my favorite thing to do, but I don't do it regularly anymore, is snowmobiling. There's so many places in the National Forest that you can snowmobile. On a day like this today, it'd be beautiful.
Absolutely.
But we also get a lot of bluebird days, so it's really cloudy today. The sun has poked out a couple times, but we could have all this snow on the ground and have just blue skies, and there's not much more magical than that around here. It makes for a wonderful day, but we get that a lot. We'll get a ton of snow, and then we'll get blue skies. I know we've kind of talked about that to death, but it's one of my favorite attributes of this place is how sunny it is.
It happens quickly too. There can be days where it's cloudy, and then all of a sudden by the afternoon it's really clear, and then the following several days are just, like Zach said, just bluebird, pristine sunshine. It's pretty amazing, and that's one of the unique aspects of living in the Northwest. but being like on this side of the mountains, it's more of a desert terrain. We just don't get that cloud coverage that lingers for weeks in the Seattles and the Portlands, the Eugenes. It's such a different climate here, and we're still right here in the Pacific Northwest.
Looking forward to some of the summer videos coming up here shortly.
Yeah, the perfect day in the spring or in the summer.
Yeah,
we get to this portion of the winter. A lot of people are like, all right, I've had enough. But we still have like at least 2 months of this. Yeah. Sometimes it lingers longer.
You know, and we've got the snow all the way into, like up on the mountains, all the way into like late May, early June. But pretty rare. Our springs here are pretty fantastic. But if you love the snow, this is an amazing place to be. If you don't love it, really, what did we say, 36 inches of snow?
Yeah, mid-30s.
It's really not that bad.
No.
It does seem to come in bunches like this. So we got a ton of snow. We've had a pretty mild winter up until about a week ago.
Yep.
And now we're getting nothing. So.
Yeah, one thing that's pretty cool too, this area, like Mount Bachelor will stay open until Memorial Day. And so you can have those spring-like days down here and even up there where people are skiing in their t-shirts, 50 degrees up there, they're skiing, the lifts are operating till 1 p.m. And then you can come down here, it could be 70 degrees for you. Maybe play around at golf in the afternoon, ski in the morning. That's going to be kind of the theme of my perfect spring day coming up in 2 months. But that's
that golf event you're playing.
It's called the Racing Ace.
Racing Ace. Explain to our fine followers what the Racing Ace.
That's a charity event, but you start up at the mountain and you do a little race down the hill. It's a 5-man team, and a couple of them will do the ski portion of it, and then we all zip down to local golf course like Widgie Creek, which is on Century Drive, and we play 18 holes, a scramble, at about lunchtime, and then we go hang out at like a local brewery or something afterwards. But it's just a great way, that's in April, just a great way to spend a spring day, and it kind of just encompasses what Bend and Central Oregon's really all about. A lot of people, like in Southern California, they brag about how they can go surfing in the morning or skiing in the morning and then zip over to the coast, the beach, and surf later in that day. We kind of have that too, just with skiing and golf.
You could also ride the wave too if you're daring enough.
Actually, we could do that too. We've got ourselves a surf park here in Bend, which is interesting as well.
We're going to run through some things that we believe are absolute must-dos if you've got a weekend to spend here in Bend.
So 48 hours in Bend. That's not a lot of time to get so many different things done, especially in Central Oregon where there's so much to do. But we pieced together a little list here. We're trying to give you guys as much as we possibly can with such a short amount of time to enjoy when visiting Bend, learning about the area, etc. So where else to start than right here in downtown Bend? We're actually right in front of Cafe Sintra, one of the better breakfast joints in all of downtown. We thought we'd start here to give you guys a perspective as to where you might want to have a quick meal early in the morning before you start your adventure here in Central Oregon.
So Sintra has great sandwiches, drinks, breakfast. They do lunch as well. This place is amazing. All the food is super fresh. People are super friendly here, right in the heart of downtown. So this is a great place to start your day. So we're going to show you a great place if you're going to have a couple breakfast places, a couple lunch places, a couple dinner places, and then some recreation you have to hit. So we're really, really excited about this video. Hope you guys are in for it. So stick around to the end. We'll have a special little surprise for you on the must-do list here in Bend for 48 hours. So we're in front of one of the absolute staples of Bend, Oregon. This is the OG distillery, so Deschutes Brewing. You can probably get Deschutes beers from wherever you live. They are sold all over the place, but this place is headquartered here in Bend, started here, still owned by the original founder. Deschutes Brewery has some of the most amazing microbrews out there. They also have a great bar food type options, lots of hamburgers and different salads and sandwiches and different stuff. They actually have a full bar here now too. The beer here is iconic. Across the river, you'll find the Big Stacks, the actual manufacturing facility where they make the beer. Deschutes Brewery is an absolute must-stop if you're coming to Bend and you love beer. Gotta stop at Deschutes Brewery.
We're downtown right now, and so there's just multiple businesses, all kind of like within that same theme of Deschutes Brewery. Like they're like the mainstay. Downtown has attracted all kinds of mom and pop style businesses. We're gonna start to zip around here to give you guys an understanding of what downtown really is all about, because it is one of the premier areas in all of Central Oregon. You absolutely have to check out the downtown corridor here in Bend. If you're here for 48 hours, 72 hours, it doesn't matter what allotment of time you're visiting Bend. Downtown Bend is one of the ultimate spots. So this is going to be definitely on today's video as a premier area to check out during your stay here over a weekend. So we'll continue on with the tour, give you guys some more understanding of what downtown's all about, and continue on with the activities after that. Down here on the corner of where Goody's ice cream shop is. Probably the most iconic ice cream shop in all of Central Oregon. There are multiple locations. It originally started in Sun River, about 12 miles to our south, but there is a downtown location here, and this is truly some of the best ice cream in all of Central Oregon. An absolute must visit if you love ice cream and treats like that. And it's right here in the heart of downtown.
They got handmade chocolates, all kinds of different sodas, milkshakes, candies. It's a really cool old-fashioned candy ice cream shop. It's a really cool space. It's definitely a staple of Bend, so this is somewhere we definitely want to stop on a quick trip to Bend.
So we're downtown, it's mid-March right now. It's about 65 degrees outside, still before noon. So we're starting to get some of that weather now. And when you come visit Bend and the weather starts to turn in our favor, it becomes one of the most magical places in the world to visit. And so downtown is certainly a place that you have to come check out. There are so many businesses, there's so many restaurants, there's so many people out and about, even on a Monday morning like we're strolling right now, and you just get a feel for what's going on, the energy in the air. People are excited about springtime. But when you come and visit for 48 hours, you definitely have to check out downtown because it kind of is the hub of everything that Bend has to offer. We're really close to Drake Park and the Deschutes River. We're just a little ways away from the old mill district, the box factory. The west side of town is absolutely a great spot to visit as well. But ultimately speaking, downtown has so much character. It's developed over the course of time, and it's definitely a spot that has to be on your list when you make a visit to Bend.
So this would be the number one stop for me because you can knock out so many of the great parts of Bend. We're going to show you Drake Park here in just a little bit that abuts to downtown. You've got the Tower Theater, you've got all these restaurants that we're putting out there. There's so much here and entertainment. You've got Miniman's not far away. So downtown would be number one on the list for me if I was coming to Bend for 48 hours. An absolute must visit.
What are your favorite businesses in downtown, Zach?
I love Revolver.
Great clothing boutique for both guys and girls. There's two versions of it. There's Evergreen for the ladies and there's Revolver for the guys.
I love the Foot Zone. They've got the best footwear in Bend. I feel like outdoor activities, they have an amazing array of footwear. I love Scout and Pine. Has a lot of kind of like Bend-based, outdoor-based clothes, but it's all kind of locally made and super cool store. Cascade Cottons, if you're looking for souvenirs when you come to Bend shirts, different stuff like that, mugs, things like that, that's definitely where you want to go. There's also another store down here called the Bend Store, so Cascade Cottons and the Bend Store are two great places that you can get gear when you visit Bend. If you want to memorialize your trip, those would be two great places to go. How about you? Where would you, what are your favorite shops down here?
You know what I like the Tower Theater. It's right behind us right here. That's one of the most iconic buildings and venues in all of Bend. It's been around since I think 1930 or 1940, but it's basically been preserved in its originality multiple different times, and now it hosts all kinds of venues, whether it's like business conferences or small concerts, things like that. I love that, but the restaurants for me in downtown are what get me excited. I love Five Fusion, that sushi place we just walked underneath. There's Boss Torres, which is a fantastic steakhouse. There's Zydeco, which is like Southern style cuisine. There's the Brick House, another great steakhouse, among many others. We've already showed you guys what Deschutes Brewery looks like, as well as Cafe Sintra. We're about to zip by the Lemon Tree, a great breakfast joint, but just everything that's connected to downtown, and then the way it filters into like the Drake Park area where we're actually standing in front of right now, it just kind of encompasses what downtown really represents. It's the way a downtown should be in just about every town, and that's just not the way it is for many because they don't have that ability or those amenities that surround it. But having a river to our left, as well as downtown, the way it's kind of evolved over the course of time, makes this part of Bend truly a remarkable area.
Yeah, and like you said, we're going to take you over, show you Drake Park right there. Where you get out of the river, if you float the river, is right at the beginning of Drake Park here. There's so much that you can do downtown. You could spend an entire day, entire weekend down here. The Oxford Inn and Suites is down here. There's another hotel right above that. Do you remember what that one's called? It used to be the Phoenix Inn. I don't know what it is now.
It was the Phoenix Inn.
But there's a couple places that you can stay that you're right next to downtown that you don't have to go far. You could spend your entire weekend here. I would say if you're coming to stay here for 48 hours, you want to be in one of the main two hubs. You either want to be in the Old Mill District or you want to be in downtown. Both are about super close. That way you're close to all the major amenities. Some of the things we'll show you are a little bit further out, but the majority, all the things you want to see in Bend, right around those two areas.
Absolutely. So we can see, people are outside right now. It's early Monday in March right now, and it's like 65. There's people outside. It's a sipping their coffee. And this is that time of year, right, where 65 degrees feels like 80 degrees. And so anytime we get this type of sunshine and the warmth that goes along with it, we typically get the sunshine, but it's usually cooler. But now we're starting to get those warm days, and everybody's looking for an excuse to be outside no matter what it is. And so the buzz is in the air, and we are super excited about the coming weeks and the coming months with the weather that's supposed to change over for us. And this is what really put Bend on the map all along, is when we get the warm days mixed in with the outdoor amenities that we have at our disposal. But you want to be in town. Downtown is definitely one of the spots that you have to go check out and spend some time at.
We're gonna pop over to a couple more spots downtown, and then we'll get around town and show you some of the other must-sees while you're here in Bend. So we are in front of the Pine Tavern. To our knowledge, this is the oldest restaurant that's still turning out meals in Bend. It's an iconic restaurant with a pine tree that grows right through the dining room. They've got an amazing happy hour here. This place is amazing. You feel a little bit like you're going back in time when you're in here, but the food's high end, it's good quality, and they have these scones that you have this honey butter you put on. Oh, these things are unbelievable. Pine Tavern is an absolute must stop. Have happy hour, have dinner. It's a great place. They also have an amazing patio on the back with the river, or view of the Deschutes River. So the Pine Tavern is a must stop here in Bend.
Yeah, location wise, it's second to none. It's on the very west edge of downtown. And on the opposite side of the building, like Zach said, it's the Deschutes River area, the Drake Park area. It's basically the gateway to all of Drake Park. And so we'll go show you guys what that looks like and what the Drake Park area looks like in conjunction with being right next to downtown. And then Drake Park ultimately filters into the west side of town. So just this general proximity of where we're at right now is just speaking volumes as to what really Bend is all about. It's just a great spot to be.
Absolutely. So keep the journey going.
So we just zipped over from the front side of the Pine Tavern to the back side now. It's right to our left, but behind us is the iconic Mirror Pond. Okay, that's the Deschutes River, and it's dammed up over here to our left, but it makes a very still waterway that goes all the way up through Drake Park, and then a little bit further upstream, it starts to pick up again. But you can see some of the homes behind us here. Those are generational homes. They've been around since the early 1900s, even when Bend first incorporated back in the early 1900s. And those homes very rarely go on the market. They're kind of passed down from generation to generation. Sometimes they do pop up, and it's kind of a big deal. It makes news almost. But those are $3, $4, $5 million listings right on the water there. You go all the way up the opposite side of Deschutes River alongside Drake Park. A truly remarkable area here. Drake Park area, we're right on the cusp of entering into Drake Park to show you guys what that's all about. But it's definitely a spot that you want to check out if you're visiting Bend for about 48 hours or so.
So we're going to zip over and show you guys Drake Park now.
We're down the stairs. We're on this little walkway here that runs alongside the river. You can see it there. This thing just got installed like a couple months ago, so this is brand new in terms of what Drake Park has to offer. But Drake Park, we've done videos on it before. We'll link a card up in the corner of this video so you guys could look at the entire video of Drake Park if you want to. But it's a 13-acre park. It's kind of the mainstay park in all of Bend. It's the OG when it comes to all the parks that we do have. The Bend Park and Rec District does such a great job of adding new parks here and there all across the town. But Drake Park ultimately is the busiest, and it's the most popular and most famous.
There is a ton of activities here year-round. You've got the duck race where they throw thousands of these rubber ducks into the river, and you purchase a duck, they put your name on it or your number on it, and it's a race, and then they collect them all. The first one across the finish line usually wins a car or like a redemption credit for a vehicle. It's a pretty cool event. You've got Munch and Music where they've got all summer long, they've got a whole series of bands that come down, and they've got vendors set up and food carts, and this place is just packed with people. Very fun events. A lot of the 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons and stuff start down here in Drake Park. There's almost always something going on here. If not, you'll see people down here playing frisbee, LARPing, soccer, napping, hanging out. Really cool park with a ton of old growth trees. This is absolutely a must stop while you're here in Bend for 48 hours. You can spend an hour or two here sitting around, soaking up the sunshine, viewing the river, seeing all the wildlife out here. And it also connects downtown to the Galveston corridor. We have a video on the Galveston corridor as well. Really cool area over there with a lot of restaurants and shops and things like that as well. We're not far from the mountain here. Definitely talk about the mountain and you must visit or see while you're here. But yeah, we'll keep plugging along and showing you all the places you got to see while you're in Bend for a short period of time.
right, check this out. We are just a little ways away from downtown. We drove about 3 or 4 minutes, and we're in between downtown and the Old Mill District right now. That's the Deschutes River, of course, behind us. But this is a very unique stretch of river. That's a spillway, the Colorado Bridge spillway right over there, Colorado Avenue. But there's a surf wave in the middle of the river right here that the Bend Park and Rec put in several years ago now, and it actually gives people an opportunity, those that can surf, a chance to surf literally in Bend, Oregon. Pretty remarkable. But this part of the river, McKay Park's right in front of us. This is where thousands upon thousands of people will float down the river every day in the summertime. A very unique part of Bend right here, but everything, again, pretty much centers around the Deschutes River when you're inside Bend.
So if you don't want to get on a surfboard and surf, you can either float the river while you're here, which is a huge pastime, absolutely something you should do. It takes about an hour, hour and a half, depending on how fast you're going to float the river. But you can also come here, stand up on the bridge, and watch people surf all day. Unfortunately, we don't have any surfers out today, but there's typically a line of people, 5 to 10 people waiting for their turn. They jump on their board, they surf till they fall, next person gets in. Actually really fun to watch. This is a great place to hang out right here by the river, right in Bend. Great place, be a spillway. You have to get up and you have to walk around. Now, on this side, the side closest to us, has a couple just little waterfalls that kind of go down in here. It gets a little bumpy in this section. Other people sit and surf in the middle. It's really, really cool. The surfing's a lot more like surfing behind a boat than it is like in the ocean. It's kind of a constant wave that you can kind of get on and just ride back and forth. But it's a really cool area. It's such a unique piece of Bend that we live in this mountain town with a river running through it. You can surf too. So
we pan over here, we can see behind us, there's condo units, there's houses behind us. Where we were just standing straight ahead, those are gonna be offices and whatnot. You can almost see a crane over there to our right. But again, we are right here cinched in the middle, in between downtown Bend, the Old Mill District, the box factory straight ahead. Again, the river is kind of like the lifeline of Bend. Obviously, this is why Bend settled the way it did back in the day, because of the Deschutes River. But now it's been modernized and it's just a very, very hot area for recreation.
We'll keep moving along, showing you more great stuff.
Okay, we zipped over. We're right in front of the Old Mill District as well as the Hayden Homes Amphitheater. The main stage is right behind us here. Got those smokestacks in the background as well. So this gives you a perspective of our acclaimed stage in our amphitheater that's right here in the Old Mill District. We draw 50 or 60 different artists every single summer, and it's become one of the biggest staples in all of Bend. It's definitely something that you want to put on your bucket list of things to do if you're here for 48 hours, especially in the summertime.
So they've really built this place out. It was a much smaller venue just a couple years ago. They put a bigger setup so that these big bands and groups can put up huge light shows and backgrounds and all this stuff. There's a whole grassy knoll that goes up, sits right along the Deschutes River, but we're getting big names. Kenny Chesney, Odessa Kane,
Dave Matthews, Chris Stapleton,
Jack Johnson. We've got Tyler Childers coming this summer. Just so many great names, and that list continues to grow. This is one of my favorite things here in Bend. So when you're here, there is a concert going on. Absolutely worth seeing a show here. Once the season gets going, there'll actually be some VIP tents that sit right along the top ridge there. And then over here, they build these big grandstands. So if you prefer to sit and watch the show, that is an option. Those are some upgraded tickets. But seeing a show here is absolutely amazing. It's becoming one of those bucket list places. You know, people want to go to Red Rocks and see shows at the Gorge and different areas like this. This is absolutely becoming one of those venues, and artists love coming here. They enjoy spending time in Bend. So that for that reason, we're getting a lot more great artists coming here for shows.
And even if you're not inside the actual venue for a show, there are multiple options to enjoy the entertainment outside of the actual venue. The river is behind us, in between the stage and the actual Old Mill commercial area. And so there are several restaurants that are right up on the river. You can book a reservation, or you can just show up if there's actual seating available, and you can just chill outside at a table with service and enjoy the show. So multiple options to enjoy any type of artist that's here in town, and it's become one of the most traditional things to do in the summertime here in Bend.
So if you can, catch a concert at the Hayden Homes Amphitheater. So we've got a few more places to show you. This is already becoming a jam-packed 48 hours, so hope you guys are enjoying this, and we'll continue the tour.
So we zipped over just a few hundred feet away from the Hayden Homes Amphitheater in the Old Mill District area. We're at River Bend Park now, one of two parks on each side of the river. The other one is Farewell Bend Park on the other side of the Deschutes right over there. But this is the premier area where floaters will begin their trek down the river. And it's not just for floaters, it's just a great grassy area here. It's wide open. There are people that will spend all day here on a day off. And this is a Monday right now. You can see the volume of people that are out enjoying the weather right now. It's pretty cool to be here in this particular area. But again, it comes down to the location in proximity to the river. It's definitely a spot you want to check out and go for a stroll if you're visiting for about 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever the number is.
So this is also the starting point for one of the most popular river trails loops. So you start here, it's about 3.5 miles. You head down that direction. There's a bridge out in the forest out there that's about 1.5 miles down. You cross the bridge, come up the other side, and then there's another bridge that brings you over right here. That is one of my favorite things to do. If you've got the time to take the journey down the river trail and do that 3.5 mile loop, absolutely worth it. It's mostly flat. There's a couple pieces of elevation on either side, but not too bad. This is a really awesome spot. So we're early March right now, mid-March on a Monday, and this place is already booming. This is an absolute packed park in the summertime when the weather's good. You've got the river, you've got all this grassy area, you've got all the trails, you've got the Old Mill, just so much to do around this. This is an absolute must stop when you're here. They also have something new that they're doing in the winter and springtime. Right behind us, there is a sauna, and so you can do your heat in the sauna and then cold plunge in the river. So awesome thing you could do sometime in the winter or spring here. You'll also sometimes find a food truck down here. They do tube rentals. If you're just visiting for a short period of time, get in, you rent a tube, you float down, and they actually have a little bus that you pay a fee that will bring you back here. So absolute must stop here in River Bend Park.
There's paved paths on both sides of the river. And so the one right behind us here will go all the way into the Old Mill District. And you can even go further beyond that. It'll take you into like the box factory area, as well as down to that spillway park that we were just at, McKay Park. And then if you continue on, it takes you into the River Bend subdivision. Eventually will take you all the way to Drake Park, and you know where that leads to, the downtown area. So what's awesome about the design and the layout of the river inside the city limits here is that everything is connected. And so you could just spend a day strolling along the river and have 4 different styles of neighborhood or park or activities to do or things to do while you're just cruising along the river. So everything kind of circles around the Deschutes River here in town.
Got a few more stops to show you guys, so we hope you're enjoying this. Stick around to the end. East side of the Deschutes River, so where we showed you River Bend Park.
And over there, you can see the river.
See the amphitheater behind us?
Yep.
The mountains off in the distance out there. This is the area we talked about that you can dine for the concerts. So you used to be able to set your lawn chairs up and sit all around this area, but they stopped that a couple of years ago because not as many people were going into the concert venue. So, but this is the continuation of the river trail that you can take way up another 3-mile loop around. But on the interior, here's where you find all the shops and restaurants and stuff. This area at Bend's where you're gonna find a lot more of your big brand names. You know, you've got Buckle, you've got REI, Aura, you've got Zoomies,
Victoria's Secret,
Bath and Body, Gap,
Lululemon.
a lot of that stuff here, as well as you've got a Red Robin, you've got a Greg's Grill that's more of a local base, you've got an Anthony's Fish House, an Ola, lots of good food down here as well. If you are going to one of the concerts, this is one area that you can park. There's a little bridge that goes right over here that you can access the concert venue from. But this is definitely a spot that you want to stop and have lunch or dinner or coffee at Sister's Coffee Company, and sit out at one of the tables by the footbridge, just relax, listen to the river, watch everybody out exercising. This is a very popular place in Central Oregon, Bend, to exercise. There's tons of paths all over the place. Really great place, but if you're coming to Bend, you absolutely have to see the Old Mill. I'd say this is just as important as going downtown.
For sure.
One of the staples. It's a newer part of Bend, newer, 25 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yep.
They started the development down here. They started with the movie theater, and then everything kind of built out around it. But this is the area that the old mill used to be. So Bend was built as a lumber town. They used to float logs right down the river, and then this would be where they come to be processed and everything that a mill does. But there's a couple great hotels down here. One right across the river over there. One that sit, or two that sit on top of the old mill up here. Or no, there's just one up there. 2 or 3 over by the box factory.
There's a few. They're scattered.
But like we talked about, if you're here for a short period of time, you'd want to stay most likely close to the old mill or downtown so that you can soak in all the action not have to be in your car all the time.
What Zach just touched on was the fact that this is the mill area, right? Obviously the old mill used to be a mill area, but at REI is one of the coolest REI stores, I think, all over the place. I mean, it's still like the original building of one of the mills in Bend. Those smokestacks literally are still placed right there. It's one of the primary landmarks of Bend, but underneath those stacks is the store that REI is. And the old mill district to me is probably my favorite part of Bend. I love coming down here for any array of reasons, whether it's for food or for shopping or for just a stroll along the river, because you get so many different flavors of the river. But guess what we're trying to wrap this whole video up with? The theme is that Bend kind of centers around the Deschutes River, and there are so many different versions of the Deschutes River that you can enjoy, whether it's downtown, the Drake Park area, the River Bend Park, the Farewell Bend Park area, all those things, and of course the old mill district here. So you can see there's people down here, they're outside, they're enjoying all the amenities as well, just because of the day. It's starting to warm up a little bit more now, but everybody's out here doing the best they can to enjoy Central Oregon in the early spring when we finally get some of that weather.
So you definitely want to come down here, get some shopping, get some food in, explore the river, see all the sights. Really cool. This is a pop-in spot, so definitely put this on your list when you're visiting Bend.
We've got one more item to show you, and then we'll wrap the video up. All right, I was just kidding about the fact that there was only one item left on our list today in regards to spending 48 hours here in the Bend area. Mount Bachelor's back there behind us, the Cascade Lakes area. That is something that you absolutely have to take advantage of if you're here visiting the area, learning about Bend. Mount Bachelor, as we've talked about in previous videos, is the 6th largest ski resort in all of North America, and it's only 20 miles away. Today is a bluebird day. There are very minimal clouds in the sky, and it's Monday in early March. There's probably plenty of people playing hooky right now up there at the mountain, enjoying the ski resort that Mount Bachelor truly is. But beyond just Mount Bachelor, there is the Cascade Lake Scenic Byway, which is typically open from Memorial Day all the way until there's too much snow in the fall to get through the passageway that Highway 58 eventually gets you to. But it is a spectacular area. There are dozens of lakes up there. It's something that you absolutely have to try out if you're here for just a weekend.
So if you are here in the winter, you can go up there and ski. If you're here in the summertime, you can go up there and you can have dinner up there. You can ride down on a mountain bike. The lift, Pine Martin, will take you up with a bike, and then you can mountain bike down the hill. It's a beautiful drive regardless, just going up there. So if you're just here and you're not into skiing, but you just want to see some of the most beautiful landscape possible, gotta head up, see Mount Bachelor, see the Cascade Lakes Highway up there, stop at Devil's Lake. It's the clearest, most beautiful little lake. Everything up there, Elk Lake's gorgeous. Like if you just cruise up there and stop at each little space, unbelievable. You have to check out Mount Bachelor and the Cascade Lakes Highway. So got one more stop. We're excited to show it to you. Our very, very last stop is Pilot Butte. Behind us, you will see a large cinder cone that sits in the middle of Bend. We are one of very few cities that have a volcano that sits within the city limit. I believe it's dormant. I hope so. But we're actually on the patio of our office. If it was not dormant, I think we'd be in pretty big trouble. But this area attracts so many visitors. There's two ways to go up. Take a car up. They close it during the winter because of road conditions, or you can hike up it. There's two different trails to go up. It's a ride around a mile. It's pretty steep, pretty big elevation gain, but the view up there is the best view in Central Oregon. You can see all the peaks. You can see Redmond, Powell Butte, the Cascade Mountains. It's pretty amazing up there. You can see the entire city of Bend. Just an incredible view. It's a very big attraction. I think it's absolutely something you should do if you come here. Whether you hike up it or you drive a car up there, it is worth seeing. It kind of gives you a total perspective of the area. A lot of people go up there and watch the sunrise, the sunset. It's a pretty magical place. It's located right on like the boundary of east of town, and it's in the middle of the north and the south. But Greenwood goes right by it, that takes you out to Highway 20. But it's an absolutely amazing feature that sits right in the middle of town that gives you some amazing views. They put the firework display in Central Oregon, or in Bend anyway, is here at 10 o'clock at night. It's absolutely gorgeous. It catches on fire every year.
Don't be alarmed.
Yeah, don't be alarmed. They put it out quick. They're prepared for it. So. But it's an amazing, amazing structure. A lot of recreation happens there. Do you know how many visitors they get a year?
700,000 or something crazy like that.
You go up there on a day like today when the weather's so nice in the middle of March, you're going to have thousands of people that are walking that thing. But it never gets so busy that it feels super crowded. It's not like that at all. There's just constant traffic. So.
And that's the thing. It's like 700,000 visitors. They're not 700,000 individual visitors. It's probably 60,000 people that traverse up the top of the butte 12 times a year or something like that. But it gives you perspective. Bend has hiking trails within the city limits everywhere, and Pilot Butte is one of the premier destinations when it comes to being able to hike within the city limits, River Trail being the other one. But like Zach said, probably the best 360-degree view you're going to get of the entire Central Oregon landscape. It's right smack dab in the middle of town, and it is truly a gem of an amenity in in Bend. It's something that you gotta do if you're here for about 48 hours.
Today's video, we've covered downtown, the Old Mill, kind of where you should stay in those two areas, the Deschutes River,
Multiple spots on the river,
Mount Bachelor, Pilot Butte, the amphitheater. It would be a pretty jam-packed 48 hours. This is a place that we've spent a lifetime and still keep learning new things. As we shoot these videos for you guys, we continue to learn more and more about a place that we've lived for over 30 years. So
Now, today, what we're going to be doing is a driving tour from, say, the east edge of town to the west edge of town, going right through the middle of town on Greenwood Avenue or Highway 20 or Newport Avenue or Shevlin Park Road. It's all the same road, but they have 4 different names in their respective sections. So we're going to explain all that. I know it might sound a little confusing, but what we'll do is start on the very east edge of town and just start driving west, talking about the east side, and then eventually talking about the midtown portion of the driving tour, and then eventually getting to the west side to discuss why the west side commands such a high price point compared to the other sections of this road trip. So if a video sounds like it could be of service to you, something like this, a driving tour from the east side of Bend to the west side, stick around. We're jumping into the car right now and just driving from the east edge of town to the west edge of town. Took about 20 minutes, midday on a Friday afternoon. Got some traffic in between, but it gives you an understanding of the vibes of the east side, the vibes of the mid part of town, as well as the vibes of the west side of town. Because after all, we've been driving it home at length, the difference in price points between, say, the east side and the west side. And it's no secret, the west side commands a much higher price point for a home than does the east side. So perhaps this driving tour could help you understand at a slightly higher level as to why the homes are so much more affordable on the east side versus the west side. So with that being said, let's just hop into the car and just get after it so we can show you what we're talking about. Okay, so we are just entering the Bend city limits. You saw the sign there on the right-hand side. It says 106,000 people now live inside the Bend city limits. That's crazy to me, especially after living here for 30 plus years. When I first saw that sign read about 22,000 people back in the very early 1990s. So we are on the east side of town now. We just entered into the city limits. Behind us is Highway 20. That's a single lane road that goes for hundreds of miles with basically nothing in between here and Boise, Idaho, except for Burns and Vail, Oregon, but a lot of Oregon Badlands in between here in Idaho and Boise. But where we're facing now is directly west. This is going to be the 27th Street and Highway 20 intersection. We went straight through. We're still going westbound now. If you were to take a right at that intersection there at 27th Street, that eventually would take you to Mountain View High School, about 2 miles to the north. But instead, we're going straight. To the right of us right now is the Forum Shopping Center. This is where Costco used to be. And so this side of town commands most likely a significantly less volume of traffic today than, say, a year ago at this time when Costco was drawing people from all over Central Oregon. And this was one of the primary ways of getting there. But now as we continue on, we've got car dealerships to our right and to our left. And of course, you see that big cinder cone right in front of us. That is Pilot Butte. That is a 500-foot tall cinder cone from where we're driving right now. It rises up and it's a very popular recreation destination, especially for people who want to get up and get out and start walking, running, hiking, biking up, driving up. It's where our fireworks display is for the 4th of July each and every year. And it's just kind of a central landmark of Bend. And you can see it from just about every little pocket of town. And it gives you a good sense of where you are. Okay, if you look up and you see Pilot Butte, okay, now you have an understanding of what part of town you might be in based off of where you're looking at Pilot Butte from. But as we loop around here, we're getting into more of, say, the midtown portion of Greenwood Avenue, Highway 20. Eventually, this turns into Newport Avenue. We'll get to that here in a second. But what I want to bring your attention to now is this map. And as you can see here, what's highlighted, the blue dots represent closed sales in this section of town over the last 6 months. And what you're going to see here is very interesting. The highlighted area here, the median home price in this section of town is roughly $530,000. This might be the most affordable section of Bend over the last 6 months because the median home price, generally speaking, is much higher, over $700,000, sometimes up to $800,000 in a given month. But this particular stretch here, there were 50 sales in the last 6 months, and the median home price here was $530,000. The median size was about 1,500 square feet, and the median lot size was roughly 0.14 acres. So this gives you some idea. Get a feel for this section of town here. This is the east side of town. We're getting into Midtown, but there are subdivisions on the right-hand side and on the left-hand side of where we're driving at right now, and the homes in this particular pocket of Bend, as we approach Highway 97 and 3rd Street, more of a central area, still remains very affordable, comparatively speaking. 530,000 for a median home price in this section of Bend. Now you can see it doesn't necessarily have the pizzazz and the vibe and the personality that we might see eventually in this video as we get to the west side of town. But this is why we always talk about the differences in between, say, the west side and the east side, because they are stark in difference. And it's important that we point it out because you can see this just feels like a city that we're in. Any old city, USA. Okay, traffic everywhere, gas station to your right. There's really nothing appealing about where we're at right now. This happens to be the busiest intersection in town. This is 3rd Street as a cross street. Remember the video I did about a week ago? It was talking about traffic in Bend. We were on 3rd Street going from the south to the north, and we crossed through this intersection, and I made a note of it about how this is the busiest intersection in town. Now we're here at a different vantage point going westbound through it. And so as we cross 3rd Street, now we're getting more towards, say, the central part of Bend. We're coming up on downtown. You can see that sky crane in front of us. We're going to go underneath the overpass here, which is the Bend Parkway. That's Highway 97 right in front of us. And we're going to go underneath it, and then eventually we'll be on, say, the north edge of downtown. Now that sky crane is one of 3 or 4 that are scattered throughout the city right now as we get rising buildings growing from all stretches of Bend. This is the courthouse where that sky crane is right now, and it's getting a massive renovation, a $45 million facelift. They're adding tens of thousands of square feet to it to just meet the demand for what is necessary as this town continues to grow. We just crossed over Bond Street, okay, and now we're at the intersection of Wall Street and Newport Avenue. So this is now where Greenwood becomes Newport Avenue. We're entering into the west side. So get a feel for the vibe change. What feels different already in terms of this side of town versus the previous side, the east side of town? This is the Deschutes River Bridge right here. We're crossing over, and now we're officially into the west side of Bend. And so what feels different? As we look at where we're driving right now, Newport Avenue is a primary road on the west side, along with Galveston Avenue, as well as Reed Market that turns into Mount Washington. But this has a bunch of commercial businesses on it eventually. There's a fantastic school up here on the left, but you can get a sense for just how things have kind of shifted. Again, west side of town, take a look at the map now. I drew an outline of homes in this section of town that have closed in the last 6 months, and get a feel for where we're driving right now, and just imagine homes on the right-hand side and on the left-hand side by several blocks in on each side, and what it feels like to be driving through this stretch of town. The median home price here in this section of town is just over $1 million. And in the last 6 months, we had roughly 28 sales, where you see the outline and all those blue dots where we're driving right now. If you took a right here at this roundabout, that would take you up to Aubrey Butte. If you go straight, which we're going to do, that's going to continue us on our journey to the deeper parts of the west side of Bend. If we were to take a complete left at that roundabout, it would eventually take us down to Harmon Park and access to the Deschutes River on the opposite side of Drake Park. So again, look at the amenities. We've got Back Porch Coffee to our right. We've got Newport Avenue Market to our left. We've got some fantastic restaurants coming up here. There's Chow. It's a fantastic breakfast place. But this gives you hopefully some more understanding. These homes on the west side have been here for a long time. Some of them over 100 years, many of which have been torn down and then rebuilt because the value of the land and the culture and the vibe on this side of town is just much higher than it is where we started this video. But as we continue on, this intersection here is basically 14th Street with, if we were to take a hard left here, eventually that turns into Century Drive. This right here, if we took a left, would be the road to Mount Bachelor from where we're at right now. But we're going to go straight, and we're going to continue to show you more of what the west side really looks like. Again, homes in this section here, median home price over the last 6 months is about $1,040,000 to $1,060,000. Similar size homes, slightly bigger than what we saw on the east side there. But again, it's a drastically higher price point based off of the location. But just keep in mind, Bend is a small enough town. This is about a 5-mile stretch of road that we're driving on. So it's not like we're talking 2 different metropolitan areas. This is all the same town, but just one side versus the other. That hillside there, that's eventually, that's a road that takes you up to Central Oregon Community College. We're going straight, and now we just shifted again. We're no longer Newport Avenue, but this is now Shevlin Park Road. I know. It's hard to keep up. But here we are on the very west edge of town. It feels like we're kind of getting out of town, but we're really not. I mean, this used to be kind of like the edge of town, but there are subdivisions on the right-hand side. There are commercial buildings on the left-hand side. That's a brand new build there, but behind it is going to be basically the start of Northwest Crossing, one of the primary master plan communities on the west side that have really kind of given homage to how neighborhoods are built and constructed and designed today in Bend because of what happened 25 years ago, right here in this section of town in Northwest Crossing. We're on the very north edge of Northwest Crossing, but you can see here, there's a bunch of commercial businesses, there's a couple churches that we've passed along, and now we get into the homes. But what's interesting about the map that you see now here, as we get close to the Mount Washington Drive intersection, this little outline here showcases homes along the same stretch of road, just with a different name, that have sold in the last 6 months. And what we're looking at is a significant increase in the median home price. The further west we go, the more expensive the homes get. The median home price for homes in this particular section of town over the last 6 months is roughly 1.4 to maybe 1.5 million. Now we're at Mount Washington Drive, this intersection here. You can take a look. That's Valhalla Heights there, that intersection and that subdivision. That's been around since the 1970s. That was here before Summit High School was here. Everything really else around here was not developed until after Summit High School was opened back in the year 2001. So pretty interesting stuff. Now we're getting into the Shevlin neighborhoods here. There are multiple subdivisions with the word and name Shevlin as part of the subdivision title. Shevlin Meadows, Shevlin Commons, among many others. But as you see, we're on Shevlin Park Road, still the same stretch of road that we started on at the very beginning of the video. But again, if you look at the map, what you're going to see are all those little blue dots there in this outline. Those are closed sales in the last 6 months. And the median price point for this section of town, you can see crazy development too. The median price point is $1.4 to $1.5 million over the last 6 months. So a huge difference, a 5-mile stretch of us driving and going from, say, 500,000s to the 1.4s to the $1.5 million range. It's kind of raining a little bit today, so we got the wipers going, but on the left-hand side, there's going to be some roads that you can turn left onto, and those are some newer neighborhoods, and they feed into additional neighborhoods. So you find Westgate back there, you find the Tree Farm back there. Eventually, that takes you over to Skyliners Road, but now we're getting far enough along Shevlin Park Road to where we have a subdivision to our right and one of the final subdivisions to our left as we approach the intersection. This is where Shevlin Commons is. Okay, median home price in this area on the left-hand side can be up to 2 million to 2.5 million, depending on which section of the subdivision that you're in. But there are multiple subdivisions in there as well. But now we're not really going to see any further homes as we get beyond, say, all the development on the west side of Bend. This road will take us to Shevlin Park, where we'll end the video. But ultimately speaking, you just started from the very east edge of town and you finished at the very west edge of town, and it took you roughly 20 minutes. I sped up the video just a little bit to help us get through this. But again, you just drove from the very east side of town to the very west edge of Bend. This is Shevlin Park here, very popular destination. You can park on either the left side or the right side. We're going to park into the right side here. This is where Aspen Hall is, a very popular area for weddings, for photography in the fall. There's a pond back there, a fishing hole where kids get to go cast their line, but great hiking trails everywhere. And the same thing on the other side of the road there. So we're going to wrap this video up right now. Thank you if you're still watching this. Hopefully this gives you some perspective, okay? The west side versus the east side, price points, the vibe, etc., etc. You've done enough research watching this channel now where you can go now and look back at some of the other videos that we have on the west side or on the east side to get a feel for what the houses look like themselves, because we just took you through the primary artery from the east side to the west side. The map tour now of the 13 neighborhoods as we recap this entire series that we've done on the 13 neighborhoods of Bend. So I'm going to share my screen here and we'll get off to the races here with this tour. So we've got 13 different distinctive neighborhoods. We've been driving that home, it seems like forever, with each and every video that we do on the series. We were out in the field for every single one of them. And you can see here from a bird's eye view, from a map view, this is what it looks like as it relates to the 13 neighborhoods. We've got the Boyd Acres neighborhood here. That's the north end of town. That's where a lot of new construction's going on. A lot of shopping is up there. We've talked about that in the past, there's the Lowe's, there's the Home Depot, there's Best Buy, there's Target, there's the shopping center up there, the Ben River Promenade. So there's all kinds of shopping opportunities up there, but also Costco will be going in up here as well in the near future, as well as a big Fred Meyer complex. But the Boyd Acres Road, the median price for a home up in the Boyd Acres area is under the Bend average, or the Bend median. So it's going to be under $700,000 for this neighborhood over here. This is a good place for first-time buyers. It's a good place for people that work in Redmond or need to commute to the airport. Honestly, anywhere in Bend is going to be fine for the airport. It's about the same, give or take 5 minutes to 10 minutes, depending on where you live. You could live on the far south part of town, get on the Parkway, and you're maybe 5 to 7 minutes behind anybody that lives in the Boyd Acres area as it relates to and from the Redmond airport. But again, the price point for homes in the Boyd Acres neighborhood is going to be below the Bend median price. So you could be looking for homes in that area that could be in the high 5s to mid 6s to low 7s. And of course, there's outliers in every respective neighborhood. There's going to be $1 million homes in this area as well. But generally speaking, the median price for a home in the Boyd Acres neighborhood is going to be under $700,000, maybe the mid 6s. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, if we go over here to the Mountain View neighborhood, that's going to be another East Side neighborhood. That's where Mountain View High School is. This is kind of where the hospital area is as well. Home prices over in this area are going to be relatively consistent with Boyd Acres. It's going to be the mid 6s to low 7s in this range. The northeast part of town is a popular part of town, and it's also a more affordable part of town as it relates to Bend as a whole. Same thing here with the Orchard District, okay? A lot of older homes, flat level, single level homes with a little bit of acreage. This is where kind of like our banana belt is, if we even have one in Bend, kind of resides, lower elevation. The further west we go, which is over here, this is towards the mountains going to the left on the screen here, and that's going to slope up. We're probably at 3,600 feet, maybe just under 3,600 feet in the Orchard District. This little circle here, this is the contour line of the trail and the road for Pilot Butte. This is Pilot Butte State Park right here. That's our big cinder cone right in the middle of town. It's in the Orchard District as well. Price points in the Orchard District range anywhere from the mid to high 6s, all the way up to the low 7s, mid 7s, and then maybe into the 8s on average, median. Okay, there's going to be outliers, like I say, in just about every neighborhood. There's going to be $1 million homes, and there could be some that are sub 600 as well. But the northeast part of Bend is going to be relatively affordable as it relates to the rest of Bend. We'll get into that here in just a second. But this little quadrant right here is going to be the area of Bend that has homes that are typically below the general median home price of Bend. So hopefully that gives you some perspective. We've got videos on all three of these. And Larkspur is similar too, but that kind of gets us into the southeast part of Bend. The entire east side of town is getting a lot of development and a lot of recognition right now as it relates to future development. You can see these little blue lines here. This is the urban growth boundary, right? And so you've got all this space here that's all white, and you've got all these little pockets here that have been annexed into the urban growth boundary. So this is going to be for commercial development over the course of time. And you get down here into the southeast part of town, you got significant, this is actually goes kind of like that, but there's a lot of land that's been annexed into the commercial in UGB, which is going to allow for a lot of commercial development, which will bring housing around it in the future. As a result of it too, it's going to bring a lot of new development to the east side. And that's for good reason. The west side of town, you can see here, the UGB lines are just, they've been developed, right? I mean, there's development all the way up into the borders of the UGB, those little blue lines there. It's been the focal point for the last 20 to 30 years in Bend, and there's still plenty of development going on over on that side of town, but we're gonna see a lot more of the action happening on the east side of town. We just showcased you the 3 neighborhoods of the northeast part of town, and now we'll focus on the 3 that make up the southeast part of town. Here we've got Larkspur. That's gonna be basically Reed Market Road to the south and Greenwood / Highway 20. We've got videos on both to the north here. And this is the pocket of neighborhoods that are all in the Larkspur neighborhood, very similar to the Orchard districts. There's some acreage there. There's even some irrigation land. There's some small farms within the boundaries of the Larkspur neighborhood. But homes, again, are going to be kind of in that similar price point, mid 6s to mid 7s, and maybe creeping up to like the $800,000 range. That's where our typical home price point is going to be for a median home price in the Larkspur neighborhood. Old Farm District is going to be similar, maybe a little bit higher. We've got the new Caldera High School that's going to be down here, kind of on the border of the Southeast Bend neighborhood and the Old Farm District neighborhood. So we've got the new high school. It's already open. We've talked about that at length in some of our previous videos, the Southeast Bend neighborhood, as well as the Old Farm District. Again, very similar. These 3 neighborhoods here have a lot of similarity as it relates to the style of home, the age of the home. A lot of the homes were built in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. Of course, there's new development, new subdivisions within these neighborhoods as well. But this part of town, this kind of used to be the cutoff of Bend here. You know, you got 97 that goes through here. This is the Parkway now. But back in the 70s and 80s, this was kind of like outskirts of Bend here, and there was really no development past
Pilot Butte. Okay, and now we have all this development on the other side. So Pilot Butte's right in the center of town, or at least in a central part of town today. But back 50 years ago, it certainly was not the case. And so that's why you have a lot of these homes that still reside and remain. They're single level homes with acreage, quarter acre lots, half acre lots, even up to an acre lot, all within town. And then those are the established subdivisions, the older homes. Then you have more condensed housing with the modern subdivisions that have been built up over the last 10 to 20 years on this particular side of town. But we go back to the old farm district down here. This is going to be a very popular part of town as well. And then we have the southeast part of town, which is going to see a lot of development over the next several years. There are pockets of land here that have not been developed yet, but they are getting acquired. And you have the UGB, like we talked about, where there's going to be plenty of commercial space and commercial land that's available for development over the next several years. And so we're going to see thousands, maybe 10,000 homes in this particular neighborhood here over the next 10 to 15 years. We've also got a significant project that's going on called Stevens Ranch. It's a master plan development. That is the largest master plan development in Oregon history. That's basically going to be on this stretch here. So this is kind of that pocket of land. It's been grandfathered into the UGB, and it will see a lot of commercial development on primary 27th Street going north to south, and then further in towards the east is going to be the development of the homes in the neighborhood. There's going to be an elementary school in there as well. So very interesting things happening on the east side of town as we speak. If we traverse, I know that you guys know that I love to say the word traverse. I know Zach always reminds me of it, but we've got we're going to go over to the opposite side of 97 here, and we are on the southwest part of Bend now. That's where the River Rim neighborhood is. That's where the Brookswood Meadow Plaza is. That's where access to the river is. That's where Rivervale is. We just did a video on that recently. And you can see here, we talked about how it's easy to get up to the Cascade Lakes if you're on the west side of the river already, because this is basically the road that will take you there. That's Century Drive, goes right through the Century West neighborhood. But we're on the east side of the river here in the Southwest Bend neighborhood. Fantastic homes here. There's 2 elementary schools over here, Pine Ridge and Elk Meadow, and there's a lot of new development. Most of the homes that are in the new development stage are roughly 10 to 20 years old, and there's also some older, more established neighborhoods as well. Price points in this neighborhood, I'd say the median price is going to be in the $850 to $950 range. There's going to be several $1 million homes, dozens, that are going to be in this neighborhood as well, especially the closer you get to the river. There's going to be multi-million dollar homes that overlook the river looking to the west. You'll see the mountains and the river in the same lot, and so that's a very rare feat in Bend. I mean, that's really good property right there if you can get the river access or river view with a mountain view as well. But you have the river trail down here. Zach loved the river trail, and that's kind of like, this is kind of like the trek of where it goes. There's trails all along that. This bend right here is Farewell Bend Park, and this goes into the old Mill District right in this area here. So that gives you guys some perspective, hopefully, as to where we're at. But the Southwest Bend neighborhood, great neighborhood, fantastic homes there. There are some with a little bit larger of lots, but there's also plenty of more established neighborhood, more established subdivisions that have larger homes, 3,000 square foot homes plus, but they're in such a prime location. You have Brookswood that goes right down into the old mill. It's about a 5 to 10 minute drive, depending on where you're at. And those homes are going to be probably $1 million at minimum, but then you'll have smaller homes in this particular neighborhood that are 1,500 square feet up to 2,500 square foot. That will range in between, say, $700,000 and $900,000. So it's all about location as it relates to the price point of homes. Southern Crossing is something that we recently did as well. It's more of a central neighborhood, less housing, way more commercial area, way more commercial development. The old Mill District is right in here. We've got the box factory area that's right here. We've got an industrial park on this side of the river here. This is where the amphitheater is as well. We've got the Deschutes Brewery headquarters. There's a lot of commercial, a lot of business park area, a lot of business offices, things of that nature in the Southern Crossing neighborhood, but a great area. Goes right, the river goes right through here. That's the bend. This is the bend in the river. That's where the name of the town comes from. And this is where the logs used to float down, and this is where the mills were. And so it's been really developed into just a very, it's a big magnet for attraction. A lot of people come down there just to use it on a daily basis. Regular residents do that, but it's a very, very popular area for tourists as well. Floating the river. This is kind of the stretch of the river where we float the river in the summertime. And this is the popular area to be spending a lot of time. A lot of parks down there, but very interesting. You can see here, actually, I haven't mentioned it yet, but all these are the little subdivisions associated with each respective neighborhood here. So you can see there are hundreds of subdivisions as they relate to all of Bend in general, just like any town can have hundreds of subdivisions. But this will give you guys a list of the names. So then you can do some research and due diligence on where you potentially want to live, what neighborhood you want to live, and then we can hone in on which subdivision is going to be best for you. Century West is a very popular area. This is where Tethero is. This is where this is where Broken Top Golf Club is. Broken Broken Top neighborhood is as well. So there are $1 million homes. I'd say the median price for a home on this side of town in this neighborhood is going to be in the 1.1 to 1.3 range. Very popular area here. This is the road to Mount Bachelor, the road to the Cascade Lakes. The Phil's Trail is going to be in this particular area here, just off the beaten path of this map. So it's very centrally located on the west side. It's very popular. The west side of town really is the more developed and probably the most attractive part of town, hence the reason why there is going to be a little bit more of a discrepancy when it comes to the median home value of houses in this particular neighborhood. If we venture up to the River West neighborhood here, this is a great, more established neighborhood. A lot of the older homes dating back to 1910, 1920, 1930 have been renovated, and they are all within this little stretch here. This is the Deschutes River, of course, and we have Drake Park where it kind of widens right here. This is Drake Park right here. And so you have River West that is right on the river on the west side. Very easy to get around from point A to point B without the use of a car. You can ride your bike, you can hoof it, you can get to all kinds of businesses, there's restaurants, there's commercial areas, there's just, it's really accessible with whatever mode of transportation you guys want to use. It doesn't have to be a car, it can be something else. Okay, and you can get from point A to point B in a very short amount of time. There are bridges that go across, footbridges that go across the river here in this particular area, but it's a really updated area, but it also has a lot of character because it's part of Old Bend. Obviously, there is a neighborhood called Old Bend. It's on the opposite side of the river. This is the downtown neighborhood here. A lot of old established homes. There's just a lot of character. Same kind of ritual here for Old Bend as it relates to River West. This side, you can get to downtown out your front door with just maybe a 5 to 10 minute traversing. There's a particular word I'm trying not to use just for the sake of being inclusive for everybody, but you guys get the point. You can connect the dots, right? Point A to point B without the use of a car in a very short amount of time, and you can zip around. This is what kind of makes Bend so popular. This kind of stretch of town here. There's great businesses over here. The Galveston Avenue corridor is over here. The Newport Avenue corridor is over here. The 14th Street Avenue corridor is over here. We've done videos on all three of those, and that gives you hopefully a sense of what the character of this part of town is here, because the west side of Bend really is a popular area. Median home prices in this area are going to be over $1 million as well, but there's a lot of smaller homes too. You can get yourself maybe a 1,000 square foot house. You're going to pay for it. It's going to be probably $700,000, but the bigger standard size homes, 1,500 to 2,500 square foot, are going to be probably in the $1 million range. And of course, there are outliers too if they're right on the river, or if they're just bigger homes in this particular area that are 3,000 square foot or more. They're going to be probably in the 1.5 and going up range. And that bodes well for basically all of Westside Bend. Aubrey Butte is over here. Of course, that's our big 4,000 foot butte that's just right there in the northeast part of Bend, and there are thousands of homes that are up there, and they are large homes for the most part. It's been pretty much developed, the entire butte. There are lots that are open, and you see new construction here and there, but the homes typically are going to be over 3,000 square feet. Some are 4, 5, 6,000 square feet. They're on bigger lots. They're going to be, acre to 2 acres. Some are even 3 acre lots, and so we're looking at anywhere from low 1 million all the way up to 2, 3, 4, maybe $5 million in certain neighborhoods within Aubrey Butte. You can see here, just like every neighborhood, there are specific neighborhoods that go along with that, but North Rim is one that comes to mind. There are homes in there that's on the north end of the butte. It's like right here. You can see the river here. The river actually kind of runs around it and bends around like that, but we have North Rim up in this range here. Those are going to be 2, 3, 4, $5 million homes. I mean, whether they get that price point, $5 million, they're listed for that, but just fantastic views, great access to trails in the area, great access to the river, and it's just kind of off the beaten path, but you're up high. You're at 38 to 4,200 feet depending on where where the home is situated on the butte. But you can see here there are multiple different subdivisions within the Aubrey Butte neighborhood, and those are going to be probably all minimum, like as far as the median price goes, $1 million, maybe 1.3, 1.4 in that range. Summit West kind of bodes well in the same environment. We've got the tree line, or tree lines in there by Polish Homes. We just sold a house on that. We'll have that video. That video should be out right now as of this recording and this video release date. But additionally speaking, we have West Ridge. We've got there's the West Ridge subdivision. There is the Tree Farm subdivision. West Gate subdivision as well. Those are all fantastically, they're newer subdivisions with bigger acreage on the west side, so very desirable, and the homes are pretty unique. They're all craftsman style homes, custom builds in that range, and so those homes can be anywhere from 2 to 3, and then even beyond up to $4 million. But there will be pockets of subdivisions all within these west side neighborhoods that are more stick-built homes, dare I say it, that are going to have just the traditional 1,500 3-bed, 2-bath style square footage. Those are going to be in the high 8s, the low 9s, high
high nines, depending on where they're located and what some of the amenities and fixtures are within the home and the surrounding area. But you get a feel for where we're at, right? The west side of town is kind of the gateway to the Cascade Lakes area, the Shevlin Park area, the gateway to the Sandy Am Pass, Sisters, gateway to a lot of the golf courses on the west side. There's Aubrey Glen Golf Course, there's River's Edge, there's Broken Top, there's Tethero, there's Widgie Creek, among a few others in the area there. But it's the gateway to the Cascade Lakes and all of the outdoor amenities that Bend is so famous for. So great mountain views over here as well, especially on Aubrey Butte facing to the west, but you can have some great mountain views facing to the east as well if you like a good sunrise, and then you want to avoid that hot summer sun that kind of bears down from the west in those summer months. But hopefully this gives you some perspective, generally speaking, on all 13 of the neighborhoods. Again, we have a playlist that has just us out in the field. We're vlogging in every one of these different neighborhoods to give you a feel for what the neighborhoods are like, what the amenities are like within those neighborhoods, just so we can hone in and hopefully provide context and perspective and value as to where it is in Bend you want to be, what your price point is, what your budget is, things of that nature. What are the things that you have to have in a home? What are the things that you can live without when it relates to the home that you're going to be purchasing here in town? So that's what Zach and I are really trying to focus in on as we continue building these videos and building out our library of value through these videos on this channel here. But this is more of a Google map here, and you can see Bend here from the perspective of a Google map. We've got outside the Bend Municipal Airport here is going to be to the east. You've got the neighborhoods that are basically labeled on Google too. And so you can go to Google Maps and you can just kind of zoom in, you can zoom out, you can check things out, get a feel for, the River West neighborhood or where the Deschutes River Trail is as it relates to the Century West neighborhood or the Southwest Bend neighborhood or the Old Farm District. Okay, so all these neighborhoods are official and they are on Google Maps. The Pine Nursery's up here in the Mountain View / Boyd Acres neighborhood. There are all kinds of things to look at as it relates to Bend, and there's all kinds of things to learn before you arrive. But if you have more curiosity about these neighborhoods, how can Zach and I help you? Set up that Zoom meeting through our Calendly link, or just give us a call or shoot us a text. We want to help answer all questions that you have, so you feel like you know Bend before you get here. If you haven't been here before, maybe you've been here and visited before, but when you're on vacation, you kind of have a different mindset. But now that you're focusing in on potentially moving here or moving around from maybe Redmond to Bend or vice versa, we want to help you guys with any real estate need as it relates to where you're at. Whether you're selling it, we'd love to help you sell that home. We've got clients from out of town that are constantly asking us about homes that come on the market or before they come on the market, so we could be a resource for you there for out of town clients that are looking for homes that are coming on the market or just getting ready to come onto the market. Or we just would love to help you find that right home for you, whether it's in Bend or Redmond, or maybe it's out somewhere rural like Powell Butte, or maybe it's out in Prineville or Sisters or Lapine. It just doesn't matter to us. We want to help be that resource for you the first time upon your arrival. So again, my name's Ryan. I'm a licensed broker with eXp Realty. I so appreciate all of the support on the channel. We really value the time that you spend watching these videos, commenting, liking, and just hopefully we're piquing your curiosity. We're going into a new year here. We're in the holidays right now, so it's going to be a bit of a slow period of time as it relates to activity. If you're not in the market, you'll probably wait until January or February or March before you re-enter the market, whether it's selling or buying. But again, reach out to us. It's going to be a very interesting year as we go into 2024, an election year. What is the market going to do? Where are interest rates going to go? Are they going to keep going up, or are they going to kind of taper back a little bit? Are we going to see a dip in those rates? Is that going to create a frenzy in the market? Okay, all things that are questions that need to be addressed before you enter the market. And so that's what Zach and I are here to do. We've got a pretty good pulse on the market as to what would happen, say, if interest rates do come down. We have a pretty good idea as to what would happen if, say, interest rates remain where they are stable, or if they continue to taper up. So Bend is a very in-demand area. There will be people that are moving here no matter what the market does, but there are more people that are waiting for what happens next in the market. And so if that's the position you're in, reach out to us. We can start a conversation immediately and just try to provide as much value as we possibly can. So thank you guys for watching these videos. We're so thankful and appreciative of the support on the channel. If you haven't done so yet, please like this video, maybe subscribe to the channel and share it with a friend. And until next time, we will see you guys around town, hopefully, but definitely on the next video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.